Hey all, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning all. So, anybody new today?
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, Shubhjit.
Yeah, I am actually joined today itself.
Okay, yeah. So, let me share you this link. You join this WhatsApp group, whoever is new today. I'm sharing you link in chat.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can join there. Yeah. So basically, what we have discussed is about course content and the duration. So as part of this course, we are going to cover Spring Boot, and microservices, including Hibernate, and the basics of servlets. We are going to cover all these 5 topics. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So as per this course, we announced Spring Boot and microservices only. But alone, if I go with Spring Boot microservices, whoever is not having knowledge on Spring framework, they may not able to understand up to that level here. So that's where I am going to start with Spring framework, and I'm going to include ORM also, Hibernate. This discussions also we do separately. Hibernate we will discuss, and basics of servlets also we discuss here. Okay, apart from that, from Spring Framework, we are going to cover all 7 modules: IOC, Jdbc, ORM, AOP, transaction security, and MVC. On top of that, we discuss all Spring Boot features from Spring Boot documentation, whatever we have, and all the microservices features, including microservices design patterns. And we include Swagger, Mockito, JUnits also. And apart from this, right, I'm going to show you basic Kafka integrations and Radish integrations for caches and all. And we are going to use multiple databases here, including cloud databases also we use. I'll include so many cloud topics here. Okay, AWS, Azure, and OpenShift also we can see. And I'll try to include Docker and Kubernetes few examples. Okay, so that you will get hands-on knowledge end-to-end on current application development, particularly in microservices. You will get hands-on experience. Okay, so I'm planning to conduct quiz sessions also. So I'll prepare some quiz and will share across, so that you will, when you attempt the quiz, you can see to where you prepared, and even I can understand up to where you all understand the sessions, so that we can analyze our understanding gaps, and we can cover that area as well. And so the code generation tools also we have, that I'm going to show you. Okay, so quickly, if you want to deliver some code, instead you putting efforts, there are some tools you can generate it, and you can customize based on your requirements. A small tweaks if you can do, the application will ready maybe in an hour, where you are not going to spend months of time. In quick turnaround, we can deliver huge code. So that is also I'm going to show you. And the prerequisites are expecting Java, basic Java 8, if you know, that is more than enough. And one guys asked about Java 8 features also. We will try to see them. Okay, Java 8 features. Basically in interviews, mostly people are asking Java 8 features and microservices questions. Those are the major questions that we are getting. So we'll try to cover that. And it is going to take more than 55 sessions. So around 2 to 2.5 months you need to spend. Okay, definitely. And everyday recordings you will get from our side to your Google Drive. It is not going to host in public. Maybe demo videos up to 5 sessions will be available in YouTube, but thereafter every recording will share with you to your personal G drive. And yeah, I'm going to share my blogs and my examples through Git, and we have blog also. I'll share that blog as well. Okay, so soon I'm going to create a big blog for all the tutorials. That also I'm going to share it with you, and a live project also I'll show it to you, which I'm developing. Okay, so this is what we planned from the content wise. Okay, so just I just need your cooperation across all these sessions. I'm sure that everyone will get complete end-to-end understanding on the Spring and Spring-based development. From very basic to advanced level, you will get the complete understanding. Okay, so we will start with Spring basics. Okay, so these are not the modules that we are going to cover. Maybe some other modules I might not listed out. We have so many modules. Yeah.
Uh, Naveen sir, one thing like, are we going to cover the ELK stacks and all this, Kibana and Elastic and all
Mm,
in a
yeah, that's what
Microsoft?
I said. If you have any such requirements, right, post me. We will try
Mhm.
to, cover some few examples on that area.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, basically for log tracing and as I said, right, from microservices, we are not going to hide anything. We'll discuss all the patterns for each pattern, whatever technical areas we have. We'll go into that discussions and we'll do the examples as well. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that all will fall under logging and tracing, right? So we do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
these are the very generalized topics that you see here. Okay, uh, just a minute. Oh, yeah, so we are going to cover these three from Spring, right? Spring Framework, Spring Boot microservices. So as I said yesterday, right, the base module that we are going to start with is Spring Core module, which is the important module. And without this module, no Spring Framework, no Spring Boot microservices. Okay, so this is such an important module, Spring Core module. So we need to, very in-depth understanding required on this module so that it will be easy for us to handle other modules. So we are going to cover this module first. On top of this module only, all the remaining classes we are going to, use Jdbc classes or ORM, AOP, all these modules. Okay, this is the base module that we start with. Okay, so this is the base module where all these classes are designed, and this is the base module where we have containers also. Why? Yeah, why they have given containers here? Because when you see application development generally in Java, right, if you prepare any standalone application, to run that standalone application, basically if it is in swings kind of thing, right, You need not to have any particular server, but you need JRE, Java Runtime Environment is required so that you can run maybe by using Java command, Java space your class name, main class name, so that you can start your application. Whereas in web applications, you need a Tomcat kind of container. We call it as container, right? So a Tomcat kind of container is required to start your web applications, whatever you design using servlets or JSPs. When you design your application for distributed, right? For distributed applications, if you use EJBs, to run this EJBs, you need application servers. So these application servers are containers. So without this application containers, we cannot able to run EJB classes. Same way, if you use REST implementations or SOAP implementations, let's say REST API if you use, to run that REST API also you need this Tomcat kind of container to run your REST, pure REST applications. When it comes to Spring here, when it comes to Spring, if you are going to use Spring to implement your MVC classes, either controller services, DAOs, we have list of modules as I said, right? We have the MVC module for controller part. Basically, the responsibilities of each layer, right? So when you talk about MVC, model view controller, so here we have view layer. View is for front end part. Here we will have all the front end logics, front end designings. Maybe we use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, all the JS JavaScript frameworks we can use here, and all the HTML frameworks we can use here, all the CSS frameworks we can use here. Those are all for front end, for presentation layer views. And coming to back end, in back end generally, when you follow MVC architecture, right, this is the most using architecture for Java based applications development, particularly in Spring Boot microservices. Okay, so here we will start. Backend developer will start his tasks from controller part. So view is there. From view we are getting request, and views are expecting some responses also. So here controller responsibility is it need to read the request and it will send the same request to service. Service will handle all the business logic. Then it will forward that request to DAO. DAO will do all CRUD operations, database operations on database. So in these three areas we are going to work: controller area, service, and DAO area. All backend code we write here. Particularly controller job, as I said, right? It need to read data. It will act like a mediator between your business logic and DAO, between front end and back end classes. So this will help us to read data from views, and it will help us to send response also to the views. So here before Spring we have servlets to handle this controller part, and Struts framework, JSF framework also was there, right? Now in Spring we have Spring MVC, to handle, to read the request and to send the responses to views. MVC framework we use, and the security we use to handle security, right? Always we don't allow every request to application. We will check that request is valid or not. His credentials we check. So that part also we need to handle before controller itself, right? So we use security here to handle that authentication and authorizations. And to handle business logic, you don't need any special framework. But here we, as we interact with the database. Hello, am I audible to everyone? Is my voice is loud enough?
For me, you are audible, sir.
Okay, just a minute.
Now, is it loud enough?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. So what I was saying is here for controller part we use this MVC and security. For service layer to handle business logic, plain core Java must be enough. But if you want to apply transactions, as this service layer will interact with the DAO, right? So while interacting with the DAO, it should able to control your CRUD operations. It should able to handle consistency in your CRUD operations. So service need to take care of that. So for that we will apply transactions on service part. And we have AOP also, as I said, right? It's like your OOPS concepts, like for reusability of your code. They have given some multiple patterns here, right? Without interrupting any of your classes, we can add some features to them. So using AOP we can do that. It's a beautiful concept we discuss, and easy also. Just four concepts we have there. And coming to DAO part, to handle database operations, Jdbc or EJB entity beans. EJB entity beans for EJBs, right? But they are very costlier objects. We are not going to use them nowadays. We have Hibernate. We can use Jdbc, or you can use Spring with ORM. You can use Spring with Jdbc. All these concepts we have. Okay, so yeah, extended to these frameworks, Spring Boot came with same all features. Spring Boot came with all features with the built-in Tomcat container, with some other advanced features also they brought here. So all these features we have in Spring Boot also. We use same features to build microservices based applications. We use the same features to build microservices application also. Don't think that in microservices we are not going to use all this, right? We can use all these concepts in microservices also. Microservices, again, simple Spring Boot applications only. But applications are small size applications. We design, instead of coding everything together into one single app, we design multiple apps. Okay, so otherwise the same concepts we are going to use in microservices also. Now, as I said, we are going to discuss about this core module. What is the need of core module across all this? What is the need of it? Okay, you are clear, right, up to here, everyone, about MVC?
Yep. Clear.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the list of modules which we are going to use across MVC also, right? These are for controller part, and these are for service, and these are for DAO. This is also clear, right? Yeah. Now let's try to understand about IOC. Why IOC is such an important module, and I mentioned containers also available in it. In IOC we have containers also, right? So IOC is having containers also. What is that container and what it will do? Let's see. Here, as I said, right, for standalone applications, your JRE itself will act like a container, which means your JVM. For web applications, Tomcat is the container. For EJB applications, application servers are containers. Like EJB containers we will have. In Tomcat, we will have servlet containers to run the servlets. And JRE, I mean, on top of your Java, you run Java classes. It's a Java container. Now coming to Spring, I'm saying we are going to use all the Spring modules across the MVC. All Spring modules we use across MVC. To run all that Spring classes, you pick any module from Spring. We design that module using Spring core libraries only. Spring core libraries are standard libraries. Either you use Spring MVC or Spring Security, Spring transactions or AOP, you use Spring ORM or Spring Jdbc. Use any concept. Use any concept for your controller classes, right? Your service layer and DO classes. All these classes are designed. Again, right? All these will come as a jar files only. MVC jar files, security jar files. Everything we will get as a jar. As a jar, they will provide all these libraries, right? As a jar, we will get. And all these libraries are having dependency of Spring Core jar file. Okay, so all these are internally using Spring Core libraries. Spring Core framework we have, right? So the Spring Core framework they are using, Spring Core jar file is the dependency. We have multiple jars as part of Spring Core. So all that jars, excuse me, all Spring Core jar files that we are going to use across all these, modules. So Spring Core jars are dependency jar for all these modules. Okay, so you download all list of Spring jar files, check any version. Spring jars we need to download first. Download all Spring jars. So you can find Spring Core jars as part of it and remaining jars, MVC jars, security jars, transactions, AOP, ORM, Jdbc, jar files. We call them libraries also. So all these libraries are having core jar file dependency. Okay, you designed your MVC classes, controllers using this MVC and services using this transactions and AOP and database, DAO classes or repository implemented by using Spring ORM or JDBC. Alright, now to run all these classes, you designed all these classes using Spring libraries, right? And the Spring libraries are using Spring Core dependencies. Now to run all these classes, you need container, right? As I said, to run EJB applications, to run web applications, how Tomcat dependency and WebLogic dependency you have. To run all your classes, you need a container. You designed your MVC classes. Finally, you need a container here. In which container your classes are going to run? You have considered, you returned some 10 controllers, 10 service classes, and 10 DAO classes here. All these classes are going to run on a container which is from again Spring Core library only. Spring Core is providing IOC containers. Spring Core jar file is having this IOC containers. IOC containers we have. Okay, using this IOC containers only, you are going to run all your classes. So this IOC container is going to run all your classes. Where we run all our classes? In IOC containers only we run all these classes. These IOC containers are part of your Spring Core libraries only. From your Spring Core library only, these containers are there. Okay, so what it mean? IOC containers means what and how it will run all your MVC classes. As I said, right, it is something like your Tomcat container. It is something like your WebLogic container. When you run your servlets, right, servlet classes, we generate it as a var file and we run it on Tomcat so that it will create servlet object and servlet life cycles it will maintain, right? It will call init method, destroy methods. When user requests, it will redirect it to post method or get method. Servlet container will handle all that operations, right? Similar way, when you move to Spring and when you develop application in Spring, All your Spring classes life cycles, all your Spring classes objects creation, destroying of your objects, everything will be handled by your IOC container. Which means what we do, IOC containers are simple Java classes. Don't think that it is a special .exe file like a Tomcat we need to download. All right, we need not to do that. It is a simple Java class, a simple Java class, simple Java classes only. IOC containers are simple Java classes, simple classes. Okay, so that container names are bean factory, application, context, and we have multiple classes they have given. Okay, these all are interfaces. For these interfaces we have implementations. Particularly we call them like bean factory or application context. One is very basic core container and we call one is advanced container. Core container and advanced container. Generally we are not going to use this core or advanced container in general application development. On top of this advanced container we have web application context. Web application context. This is the real container that we use in web development or microservices. Again, as I said, right, all these are simple Java classes only. Simple Java classes only. They have implementations. So particularly, these all are interfaces. These interfaces are having implementation classes also. So these all are the container classes. These all are the container classes where our code is going to run. As I said, this is a simple Java class. On top of this Java class, how you are going to run other Java classes. So when you design your application, right, your controller classes, let's say you have list of controller classes here, service classes, and DO classes you have. Using Spring, you designed all these classes. Finally, once you design them, right, you need to configure all your classes, right, your controllers, services, DAOs. You are going to configure them in an XML file. We configure all these classes into one Spring XML file. In Spring Boot, we don't have such dependency. Even in Spring also, we need not to use XMLs. Here we have XML. In this XML, we configure all these classes, like how you configure servlets in web.xml file using servlet tag. Similarly, all these classes we are going to configure into Spring XML file. We configure all these classes into Spring XML file using bean tags. Bean tag controllers we configure here. All your services and all your DAOs we configure here. Once we configure all these classes, we load this XML. Just a minute. Yeah, so finally we load this XML into IOC container classes. We load this into bean factory or application context. We pass this XML to IOC container class. Again, it's a class, right? This class is having constructors. We use that constructor to load this XML file. And how do you start this container? This is a Java class. So this Java class object you need to create. All right. You create all your classes and you configure it into XML file and you load it into this class constructor. So where do you load that? Use public static void main. your main method. So in this main method, you just need to create your object. Your container object you need to create here by loading that XML file, maybe bean factory or application context. Application context AP is equal to new class path XML application context. You load your XML file here. That's it. That means you are loading your classes into container. So this is the container class. So when you start your main method, this container will start. This container will read your XML file, and from this XML file it will read all your controller service DAO classes, and it will start creating objects for them. Controller objects, DAO objects, service objects, everything it will create, and it will make it ready for user interaction. So then user need to call controller will pass it to service will pass it to DAO. DAO will handle database operations. So that's why core module is such an important module to run your MVC classes. Okay, are you all with me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is the, I mean, excuse me. Yeah, so we will start with core module. And I'll show you how to use containers first. We need to understand how to use containers, otherwise we can't even put a step ahead, right? So first we need to understand about containers, then we can discuss all the list of core features. Core itself is having so many features, more than 30 plus features we have. We need to go through each and every feature, right? So many advanced features given as part of this framework, particularly in core module. We need to adopt all that features including containers, so then it will become, it will be easy for us to understand all other modules. Okay, so let us focus more on this core module first. Okay, so let's start with containers, right? Let's start with containers. If you want to start with a basic Spring application, right? So basic Spring application, the required things, right? The prerequisites or required softwares for Spring application. You first download Eclipse. Eclipse is enough, and for Spring Boot we use STS. If you want download, you can download that as well. Eclipse and STS IDEs. Okay, or if you want to use any other latest tool, you can use. It's up to you. And download all Spring jar files. Spring jars we do with the jar files directly. I will add jars and show you, and we can do with Maven also. If you don't want to use jars directly, using Maven also we can do that. So download Maven and install it. With Eclipse by default Maven will come, but separately if you want to install, you can install Maven also, and download Spring jar files. Okay, then apart from all this you need Java, right? So first of all you need to have Java software. So have Java in your machine. Java latest 8th version or Java 9, right? Any latest version, just download and install it. Mostly Java software, Eclipse and Spring jar files are enough. Okay, Java software, Eclipse and this one, Eclipse and Spring jars must be enough. Okay, now I'm going to do a simple application step by step. I'll show you. Okay, Maybe most of you are aware of it, but for new, right? Whoever is new for Spring, for them, it will be useful. So the first application, Spring application, right? Particularly, we are going to use Spring Core here. For Spring Core module. Okay, first let's create a small Java class, any class. Create a small Java class here, like public class something student. So it's a simple Java class. I'll create one method also here. Generally Java classes will have methods and constructors. Without methods and constructors, no use of any class, right? So we basically will have methods and constructors. You can have a method here, system dot out dot println. I'm putting hello, good morning. Yeah, yeah. So create first a simple Java class. Now, second step, create a XML file with Spring DTD. So in Spring libraries, we will have DTD. We need to put that DTD or schema. So this DTD or schema are, for XML files only. Okay, right? So doc type definition or schema. XML schema definitions we use, right? XSD or DTD. So this XSD or DTD just to validate your XML tags. Basically, when we refer XML, XML will have tag libraries, right? Tags we use, right? So while using the tags, it will validate whether the tag is correct tag or not. This DTD or XSD will validate that. So for that reason, we need to put this DTD or XSD in XML file. Okay. So apart from that, the main root tag in Spring XML file that we use is beans tag. The main root tag name is beans. So this is the main root tag. You know, right? In XML, we start with one root tag, every XML file, right? Every XML file will have one root tag open tag, and root tag closing tag. Between this open and close, you can configure your bean class here. Bean class. Your class name you can configure here. You configure your class name, student class. If this student class is part of a package, in general we create packages, right? If it is a package, if it is inside a package, something com dot rbu dot something beans. So this is my package name. If I use this package, so what you need to do while configuring this class also, you need to put complete path package name dot your class name. That's it. So you need to create a class and you need to configure that class into XML file. Finally, load XML into IOC. How to load? So one more class we create, public class test, public static void main, string arguments. Here we create application context class object. So this is the container class which will helps you to run your classes. Class path XML application context. Here you load your XML file. If this XML file name is something like this, spring.xml, pass that spring XML file here. If that spring XML file is part of some folder, like some part of resources folder or resources package, give that package name / your XML file name. That's it. When you do this job, right, when you run this, it is a main method, right? You know what it will do when you start it. Run as Java class. When you run, first thing 95 line, this line will execute. It will create this class object as you are using new keyword. So while creating this object through constructor, we are giving XML file. So in this XML file, it will read your student class. Immediately it will create student class object. So if you want to observe that statement, student object is created or not, right? Override here default constructor and put a statement. You know, right? For creating any Java object, we will call constructor of any class. Without calling constructor, creating Java object is impossible. So student object created here. Someone should call your constructor. Even if you don't write it also, no problem. Compiler will provide one default constructor. If you want to write, you just write like this and put some statement here, just to understand whether it is creating object or not. So when you run this line, right, line number 97 here, it will create your student object. We clearly can observe this output first. And when you will get this output, hello, good morning, I need to call this method, hello method. Now I am saying that when you load your XML file, the student object is created. How you will get that object? Spring is creating that object. This is the container. It is reading your XML file and it is creating object. Now you can request for your object here using ap dot getBean method is there. You can call your IOC container. Please give me student object. How do you call it? Here along with class, you can have an ID here. For every class, you can put one ID. I'll give S as an ID. So the same ID you need to pass here. When you pass your ID S here, it will give you student object. It will give you student object. So now object, whatever object is creating in line number 97, it is providing to us in line number 98. Now you can call student dot hello method, so that you will get hello good morning output. So now you can expect these two outputs here. Student object created is one output. This output you will get when you run this line number 97. So this output you will get. And when you run this, when you get this object and call this hello method, right, you will see this hello good morning here in line number 99. Okay, so both outputs you will get. So from this you need to understand that these are the containers. These containers are really creating your all your objects. So whatever you implement by using Spring Framework, right, everything we configure in Spring XML file, not in Spring Boot. Nowadays we are not even touching any XML file. You don't see even any XML file, right? But earlier we used to configure like this. Okay, so now everything is annotation based. We don't configure anything. Spring will go and search. Spring will go and search each and every package. It will scan like antivirus scanner, how it will do the scanning. Same way Spring Boot will scan all your packages. It will find out all your classes and it will create objects. They made it very simple. Day by day, they improved this framework a lot, and they reduced a lot of burden from the developer. But we are, starting from very basics, right? You will realize that how they move towards, up to advanced level. Okay, so this is how generally we implement Spring. Any classes, right? We write our classes, we configure our classes, and we run our classes. That's it. In 3 steps. Write, configure, run. Write, configure, run. That's it. Okay, the same example, let me show you through Eclipse. In any point, if you have doubt, you can stop me. Okay. Up to next, you know, uh, 3-4 sessions, right? Hardly 3-4 sessions, we will use this XML concepts. Later we go to annotations. And that same annotations again we use in Spring Boot also while doing Spring Boot examples. Okay, so just try to understand how we were doing in old MVs or old Spring framework. Okay, so create a project, simple Java project in Eclipse, right? Create a simple Java project. First one, Spring IOC, finish it. So already Java JRE libraries are added here. Eclipse will by default add. Now create package. And write your class here. So this is my class. Let's copy paste. Okay, class came here. Let me increase the font. Yeah, here is my student class. Okay, with the default constructor and one hello method. Now we need XML file also, right? Let's create it. But before that, we need to add libraries here. Okay, I told you how to create it. Okay, create a Java project. Before this, right? Do this step 1 and step 2 in Eclipse, right? In Eclipse, do this step 1, step 2. Create Java project with any name. Step 2, add jars to class path. So first do these 2 steps before you create with your classes. Okay, so I created Java project. Go to build path. Once after creation of project, right click, just right click on your mouse, go to build path, configure build path, go to this libraries window, add external jars. Here we have so many Spring jar files. Okay, so we just need a Spring Core library. We are going to consume Spring Core library only. Okay, all the list of jar files I added here. So do that step first before all this. Now create a package, write a class, right? And create one XML file, resources, create a package. In this package, create a file. Go to file, new, choose a file option, create spring.xml. Put any name. Just create one package, right click, go to new. If you have XML reference here, select it. Otherwise, go to others. In others, you have file option. Choose this file option. Go next. Put your file name here, spring.xml. That's it. It will create a file. Now in this file, as I said, DTD or schema is required, right? XSD. DTD or XSD you need to put here. Without DTD or XSD, this XML file is not validated. Where you can find that in your libraries itself, in Spring Beans library. As I said, core jar files, right? Spring core jar files we added here. In that core library, you can find it. Spring Beans DTD file is there. Just open the Spring Beans DTD file. Go to line number 36. Copy this DTD. Put it in your XML file. Open Spring Beans 2.0 DTD file. Maybe do control or else go to Spring Beans jar file. I'll write it, okay? Spring Beans jar file. org.springframework.beans jar. Here I'll write it. Refer org.springframework.beans jar file. In this jar file name is Spring Beans 2.0 DTD. Refer this file. This file path also, if you want to know. Excuse me. Yeah, or else go to this package, okay? org spring framework beans.factory.xml. That is the path. In this jar file, in this folder, beans.factory.xml. Go to this package and find file Spring Beans DTD. And in this DTD file, go to line number 36. You will find DTD, copy there. Yeah. So I just copied that DTD from this line number 36 and 37. Put it here and let's configure your bean classes here. So the main root tag is beans tag. Between beans and beans, you need to configure your bean tag. Bean class, your class name. This class is part of your package, right? Student class. Student class is part of com.rbu.beans. So let's put this package name dot class name. I'm just copying it, okay? And ID. Put any ID, unique ID. This should not repeat throughout your XML files, okay? Generally we don't use, but right, be careful if you are referring any XML file. And create one test class. I'm going to create one more package, a test package, and create a class, main test class, main method. Put this code. Okay, main method also there, right? Create application context object. Okay, import all these classes. Application context is part of context package, class path XML application context also from the same package. And load your XML file. Pass your XML file path here and run it. Let me run it in debug mode so that you will see outputs also. Directly you can run main method or as debug as Java application. Also, we have two options in Eclipse, right? Use debug as. Let's start it. So application execution started here and check your console. No output yet. 11th line not executed yet. Now pass this line. To pass this line, we have option step over, click on it. So 11th line will be executed now. 11th line executed, yeah. 11th line executed and came to 12th line. So in 11th line, if you see, after 11th line execution, you see student object created. One statement came. From where it came? You are loading XML. This XML file is having this bean class. This bean class default constructor is having this statement. So somebody is calling your default constructor. Who is calling? Your IOC is calling. For what reason it is calling? To create your object. In Java, if somebody is calling constructor of any class, means they are trying to creating object. Now Spring IOC, this 11th line did that, which means it is creating your student class object. Why? Because you configured it. So it created your object so that you have this statement here, student object is created. Okay, in line number 12, I'm just getting that object. I'm just trying to get that object from Spring. Whatever object you created, please give it to me. Then in line number 13, if I execute, if I pass this step also. Hello, good morning all. So in line number 13, I'm getting it. Because I'm calling that method. It is pretty straightforward. But you need to understand that you got this object. You didn't create it. If you see, you are not creating it. Spring you created, from Spring you borrowed it. From Spring you taken it. From Spring you are taking, you are asking Spring, give me my student object. I will use it. So it given, you are using it. Okay. So this is how we will use IOC containers to create all our MVC class objects. MVC in the sense total application classes. All the classes, controllers or service or DAOs, for everything container will take care objects creation and remaining all life cycles and everything. Okay, we will go over that features step by step. Okay, till here, do you guys clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So far, yeah. So cool. So this is it basically. If you understand this session, right, the same thing will carry until your microservices. So if you understand this, what is happening here, the remaining things easily you will understand. We discuss more in detail about it, right? Internally, how it is going, how it is creating object. So it really helps you, right? We will do complete postmortem of this, container. So internally, how it is going, how it is creating object, which kind of mechanism it is using. If you understand to that level, it will be easy to you, right, to understand how internal flows are happening in Spring Boot microservices also. Okay. Yeah. So this is it I want to show today. I just wanted to start with IOC module, right? As it is very important module. I just want to, make you understand that importance of, the containers also from this core module, and the importance of core module as well across all, implementations. We are going to use this IOC containers. So that's why we need to start with containers first. Then we need to understand all the core features also, because the same features across other modules also we used. Okay. So go through this recording once again.
Yeah, Eclipse ID mostly.
Sorry,
We'll
we
use
use
Spring Eclipse. Yeah.
Eclipse we use until Spring Framework. For Spring Boot microservices, we don't have any other option apart from Spring Toolsuite. You can use Eclipse, but it is, very much difficult. Very much difficult in the sense STS given particularly for Spring Boot applications. It is easy to create Spring Boot application in STS.
Sir,
Okay.
how to download ST or else in the Eclipse, how can we include that STS plugin?
Yeah, plugin you can include. Again, it's better if you can maintain both separately. Okay.
We see the creation object, right? So distribution of the object is already taken by the Spring itself. Huh?
Yeah. So I'll send the list of softwares and their paths also. Okay, I'll create one open document, which is public document, and I'll share it with everyone. Okay. So you will refer the document for all the downloads, software paths, step by step, the class notes, everything will publish there. Okay. And coming to your doubt, yeah, what is that? Your statement?
We saw the creation of object, right? So the description of the object is already default taken care, or we need to do manually?
Object is created. What is that next statement?
No, yes, the object creation, but the destruction of the object will be
Destroy.
taken.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see, basically garbage collector will do what? If you are not using these objects after these statements, automatically it will destroy. We are using standalone application, so that's the reason it will clear it off. But if it is a web application, you need to destroy them. In web application, we create this inside servlet init method, and servlet destroy method will destroy this container object. When it destroys container object, container will destroy all your objects.
Okay.
We see up to that level. Okay, but first try to understand basically from main method. This is not the right context to put all that statements here. Maybe how MVC designed, I'll show you in servlets itself. We will take that web application context and we will create, and we will see the web flow first without using Spring MVC framework libraries, so that you will realize in real web applications how these containers are working. Okay.
This name, the Spring.xml, we can give any name, right?
Any name. You can play with these names. Any name you can use.
So the resources, all this, anything, or this also is optional.
These all are optional. You can put your package name, your required class name, your required package name, again your required file name. All these are optional. I mean optional in the sense any name you can put.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I have one question. This container that we are loading in main function, can we load this container in any other way, like apart from main function?
Correct. So inside this class, in particularly main method approaches, you are seeing standalone approach or servlet approach.
No, I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm saying like, as of now we are loading it in main function. So is there a possibility that we can load this container in any other way? Like, I mean, uh, is this happening in any other applications? Like, we can load this container in any other way apart from the main function?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Mm.
generally when we refer web application, this is we are doing in a standalone way, right? A standalone practice we are doing. So we are using main method.
Okay.
When we refer web application, do you remember servlets?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how servlets will run? Do you see any main method in servlet examples? No main
No,
method,
sir.
right?
No,
But
no.
who will create it? Who will creating your servlet objects? We configure servlet objects into XML file, and that XML file we load it into Tomcat. Tomcat will read your XML file and it will start creating objects, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
So now when you want to make a web application using Spring, we are going to use servlet. A predefined servlet class is there. The servlet name is dispatcher servlet. That dispatcher servlet init method internally will handle this.
Okay, okay. Got it.
Okay. So generally when we move towards Spring Boot and microservices or Spring MVC, right? There we don't use any main method. I mean, we use main method, but the container loading will not happen inside main method. It will happen inside servlet init method.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah. We discussed that, we will do that with our servlets itself, and I'll do the comparisons between our custom servlet and the given dispatcher servlets also. Okay, so that you will get clear, understanding of it, how really in real time it is loading.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anything else?
Sir,
So,
where you are going to share this project and the document that you are referring for
uh,
explaining the things?
so we have a Google Drive. For every batch, I'm going to create one drive here. Okay,
Okay.
I'll put all the data into my drive folder. Once it is uploading, right after session, directly I'll store everything into the drive. Automatically it will sync to my Google Drive. Once after
Hmm.
session, I'll select that files and I'll share it across.
Okay. You will
I'll
share
get
it
your
via WhatsApp or email you will be able to sell
no
in
Google
that.
Drive, right? Your Gmail is required, so I'll share with your Gmail, so you will directly get to your mail.
Okay, 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 sir.
Okay, and the link I'm saying, right, public link also Google Drive link only. That link also I'll publish. Apart from this, I will update all the concepts in blogs also. That blogs also I'll share.
Okay.
Yeah. So daily base examples, paints, notes, everything will be available from your drive, including recordings. Recordings I'm not saving in my mission. DurgaSoft admin is recording it. So what they will do, post a session every day, they will upload this into Google Drive and they will share it with you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, they'll create a folder initially and they will give access to that folder. And as soon as the video is uploaded, everybody can able to refer it. Yeah, any questions? Mukund? Okay.
Hello.
Anyone else?
Uh,
Yes,
Hi,
Mukund.
sir.
Yeah.
Can we write same example using annotations?
Yes, we mostly use annotations only. Annotations, without annotations, we can't proceed ahead for boot and, these things. We
Uh,
completely avoid this XML. Step by step, I'll show you how, they started with XML, how they are doing auto wiring in XML, and how slowly they migrated from XML to, annotations. What is the benefits they given to developer when move towards the annotations? A lot of burdens we will see in XML configurations while we are doing it. So they slowly removed that burden and they moved it to annotations. So that pain also we will understand when we go from very basic level to advanced level. Okay.
Yeah, nice. Thanks.
And
Sir, do we have a control over the objects which is need to be created?
I mean, do you want to
Because
create few
we have,
objects and
yeah, because we do have 100 classes, then everything will be created, initially be loaded in the XML, right?
Mhm.
So do we have any constraint over when the object needs to be created? We can
If
have
you
a control or?
on demand, if you want to create, we may need to put some scope there, request to scope
Okay.
kind of thing, but it is not recommended. Okay, we generally load all classes, everything infrastructure, we make it ready before in hand to the customer, right? In
Okay.
real production, uh, see what is the benefit if you if we do the debate on this. If I, without creating objects, if I start my server and if I sit idle, so what is the benefit from the customer, or what is the benefit to the business?
Okay.
Your server is
If we are not
already live,
using the class, then we are not going to create the object, right? So that's the thing I just asked.
but the benefit I want to see from that. So I purchased
Okay.
a dedicated server for 24
Mm-hmm.
by 7, up and running. I purchased the license. Okay, it is having some 10 GB RAM memory and 8 core process I have, and it have throttle input output 10 GB, so something I have. So all infrastructure is I purchased for 24 by 7 for 1 year. Okay, so if I make my application ideal, what is the benefit? If it is a serverless application, as you said, it would be benefit. We implement by
Okay.
using Azure functions or Lambda functions, right? So there, in that case, what we will do, entire application will go into a sleeping mode, which means all your objects will be destroyed. When user request, then we wake up the application.
Yes.
Basically in cloud, right, we don't consume lot of cloud memory. Everybody started using cloud memory without any purpose. If you occupy the memory, what is the benefit? Nothing. In such case, we
Yeah.
go with that Azure functions.
Okay.
Still,
Yeah.
as
Okay.
you
So
asked, yeah,
we do have scope option.
with
Yeah.
one application I have four users workflows I have. If one user coming to my application, why I need to wake up the 3 flows? Maybe not required. In such case, we create separate XMLs and we can load them. We need to do little customization.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, maybe based on the user flow, we can wake up that special container, and maybe 4 different containers we can use in such case. A lot of concepts we have on request basis. If you want to wake up for for entire container one object if you want, or for every
Hello.
request if you want a new object. Yes.
Sir, I have one concern. So, whatever I have given the mail, Gmail ID, so you
Hmm.
told that you will be uploading into the Google Drive, which we have provided the email, right? So, my storage is completely full. But what is I have created another Gmail account. So, can I share that with you right now so that you can upload to that Gmail ID?
Yeah, yeah. So one thing is, even if you have out of memory also no issues, they are going to share folder with you, which means data will not uploaded into your drive. Their drive access you will get.
Okay.
Getting right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is
So
it
if you
necessary?
want to,
Yeah. Is it necessary to share the new email or is that
it's
enough?
okay. It's okay. Even if your old one also will work. So if you think that you want to share new email ID, you can share it. No problem. It's up to you. If you want to track everything in new mail ID, you can.
So can I share in
Gmail,
this means meeting or can I share that
no,
in
no.
the WhatsApp?
Share it with a DurgaSoft team only.
Okay, 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 sir.
Okay. All your up to updated email address, because later, right, this meeting links also every month they will change. New link they will forward it to you to mail only.
Okay, sir.
So they have that complete control. Share it with them. Yeah.
Sir, one more thing I have a concern, like Are you going to cover any interview questions for microservice level or any other topic?
Yeah. So generally, I don't recommend to prepare any interview questions for anyone. Okay.
Mhm.
So in interviews, right, when I face the interviews, I don't go with any interview pattern, right?
Okay.
I'll explain genuinely what I know. When somebody asks what is a dependency injection, I don't say dependency injection is, something this we inject objects into some class, that is dependency injection. That is not the answer we should give.
Mhm.
If I give that answers to you, same answers you may convey, but that is not the way that we need to, answer in interview. When they ask dependency injection, we are discussing so many topics here, right, on daily basis. In very layman terms we are discussing them. So when they ask about dependency injection, you need to cover all the around topics. You need to say basically what is the need of dependency injection, why dependency injection need to do, what is the benefit with it. All these discussions we need to do. If they ask a question, you need to cover at least 5 to 10 minutes on that single question itself. That's how we need to lead the interviews. Otherwise, within the given time, they will put 1,000 questions to you if you give one line answers.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely I'll help you, but prepare yourself a note, right, in whatever terminology you want to write. You just answer whatever you have understanding on that concept, right? Overall concept you need to answer in interviews. Okay.
Okay.
That's how we need to drive. Within 30 minutes they may not able to cover 4 or 5 questions, and they will get impression also. They will understand that clearly, okay, he is having complete knowledge around these topics. He will skip that, or he may stop there itself and they will select us.
Okay.
Will you all agree with me? I mean, that's how I used to attend interviews. Even I'm giving so many interviews, right? I'm working parallelly. When I want to join new organization, right? I used to attend myself, so many interviews for multiple opportunities. When I change one organization to another, I used to, easily attend 30 to 40 interviews. But this is how I answer.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll share with you, right? Interview questions. So many blogs we have. You can go through them. Maybe you can see what kind of questions asking from the interviews. From that point, we can prepare. I'll agree from that point. Okay. Uh, so what kind of questions nowadays they are asking in interviews? What all areas we need to prepare? Right? That context we will get. Definitely, I'll share it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would recommend for every topic, make yourself a note and explain that very clearly to the panel, for any interview panel. That is what the people will expect in interviews.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe some mock interviews if you want to do, I will do that, and I will share you what answers you can do. Maybe post to the sessions or between when you have, you can reach out to me one-on-one. We do that. Any
Sure.
questions? Yeah. Are we all good?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
One more last question. Like, are you said like you maintain some blogs. So is there
Hmm.
any link to that? Like any public link
Yes.
of blogs?
Yeah, that is public only. Even I'll help you to create the blog. My students in the sense, the project students, I shown them how to create their blogs. They
Mhm.
started creating and they purchased their domains and they putting their resumes as a blog. Uh,
Okay.
Praveen, his name. I mean, there are open source Git pages we have. I given examples to them how to create their own blogs and upload resumes. Let me show you.
Sir, can you please share your link, blog link?
Yeah, I'll share it. So there are some templates for resumes also in Bootstrap. Nice templates we have. Um, So you can utilize them and you can put your resume in the blog, while presenting, right? You can present through your, blog link itself. So this is our blog, Spring Core. So all the examples you have here, you may go through it. As soon as I create new blog, I'll share that new blog links. For now, you can go through this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you can reach out to this numbers or mail ID. These two are my numbers, which are scrolling up, right? Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. If no questions, we'll close this for today. We don't have sessions in weekends, okay? Saturday, Sunday off, and again we will meet on Monday. Monday to Friday sessions only we will have. Okay, if there are any festivals between, I'll give, as like your office holidays, we will follow. And as I said, if at all required during weekends, we will spend few weekends. Beforehand, I'll inform to everyone. So based on all availability, we schedule it if any weekend sessions required. Okay, so mostly regular sessions will start from Monday. So between you all, please confirm your a seat. You do the payment and get the permanent link. They will share one permanent link with you. So since there you will start getting the videos and all. Okay, this link mostly they will remove by Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, if I get as much as confirmations, right, I will start jumping into real content. We can progress on that. Okay. Yeah. So thank you all. Yeah. Thank you so much. Good day
Thank
and
you.
happy weekend. Yeah. Bye all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.